Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video we're going to be making this cute little leggy frog, and for this we'll be using a blanket yarn. It needs to be a size 6 bulky, could be blanket yarn or the velvet yarn or whatever you want. We'll also be using a 6mm crochet hook, and you'll need some scissors and a little bit of pink yarn for the cheeks, a little bit of dark green or black or whatever color you want for the mouth, and I'm using 10mm safety eyes. And I like to use a stitch marker, but you don't need to, but I think it's a little easier to sometimes mark the first stitch of each round. And then one last thing, you'll need a little bit of stuffing to stuff your frog. I'm just using a polyfill, but any kind of stuffing will work. So now let's just scoot all of this stuff out of the way and get started. So I'm going to grab my yarn and my hook, and I'm just going to make a little slip knot and slip that right onto my hook. And now I'm going to chain 9. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now I'm going to put a little stitch marker in that 9th chain because that's going to count as my first stitch on this round. We're going to count that as a half double crochet. We're going to be doing a half double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook, and one more half double crochet in that same spot. So there are 2 half double crochets in the 3rd chain from the hook. And now I'm going to do single crochets in the next 5 chains. There's 2, here's 3, there's 4, and 5 single crochets. Now in the last chain, I'm going to do 4 half double crochets. So there's 1 half double crochet. There's 2 half double crochets. Here's 3 half double crochets. And here's my 4th half double crochet. And now that has brought me around the corner, and now I'm going to be working back up the bottom side of my chain. And on this side, so finding the next little place where the single crochet was, I'm going to put a single crochet in this one and in the next 4. So there will be 5 single crochets all together going up this side. And I'm crocheting over the end of my beginning yarn just to kind of cover it up. So if you see that extra piece of yarn in there, that's what that is. So we're just doing 5 single crochets coming up, and then we'll get back to the spot where the chain 2 and then the half double crochets are. In that spot we're going to do 1 more half double crochet. And then that chain 2, so the first 2 chains that we skipped in the beginning that are marked right here, that counts as a half double crochet. So it's like we have 4 half double crochets on each end chain. So now that is where our first stitch is going to go of round 2. So our first stitch is going to be a decrease single crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook, draw up a loop, insert my hook in the next stitch and draw up a loop. And then I'm going to yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. and that is the first stitch of this round. It's a single crochet decrease, and I'm going to mark it because for me it's just easier to see my first stitch. And now I'm going to continue with single crochets. I'm going to do 7 of them. So find your next little stitch and put a single crochet in it. And then a single crochet in the next 6 so that you have 7 single crochets all together. Here's 3 and 4 single crochets. Here's 5 single crochets. Here's my 6th single crochet, and one more makes 7 single crochets. Now we're going to do another single crochet decrease. So I'm going to insert my hook and draw up a loop, then insert in the next stitch and draw up a loop, and then yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. Now I'm going to continue on with 7 more single crochets. So here's 1 single crochet. There's 2 single crochets. Here's 3 single crochets. 4 single crochets. Here's 5 single crochets and 6 single crochets. 7 single crochets. And now we should be back at my very first little stitch. And so now for rounds 3 and 4, we're simply going to single crochet around. And this, I don't even need my marker. I'm just going to count. I know that it is 16 single crochets around. So I'm going to do 16 single crochets around for round 3. And then 16 single crochets around for round 4. And then once we've done rounds 3 and 4, so a total of 32 single crochets, then we're ready to put the eyes and cheeks and the little mouth on. So I'll see you at the end of round 4. So here's what it looks like at the end of round 4. And so now I'm just gonna pull my hook out for a minute because we get to put his little eyes on. And the eyes are going in between rounds 1 and 2. And I kind of just find a little space where it looks like his eyes should go. So that's right in between 1 and 2, and then I'll find the same place on the other side so that his eyes are symmetrical. So there's his little froggy eyes, and I'm using safety eyes. So you just got to grab the little backs, and you can put them on however you like. I put the backs on backwards because I feel like it makes the eyes pop a little bit more. So you just press those on. Oh, they're really hard to mash on there. It leaves little imprints on my thumbs. Oh, but these eyes are sure to stay really secure. So just mash that one on there too. And here's what he looks like with both eyes on. And now we're ready to make some little cheeks on him. And for this, I'm using some pink blanket yarn. But you can use, I'm using a light pink. You can use a darker pink if you want, or you can skip the cheeks altogether if you like. It's up to you. But you just need 2 little pieces, one for each cheek. And I'm not even using a yarn needle. I'm just pulling it through with my hook. So you want to just bring up one end of your cheek and then bring it down the other side. And then all we're going to do is tie it on the back. And his cheek should be either directly below the eye or 1 stitch below. I usually do 1 stitch below, but I put this one right under the eye for some reason. I wasn't really paying attention there, but no matter where you put it, it looks super cute, so it's fine. And then you just want to repeat that. See this little frog, you can see his face already. This is what this one's going to look like. So he's just got 2 little cheeks and 1 little mouth. So just put the other cheek on in the same way, about 1 stitch below or directly below the little eye, and just tie it on there. And once both little cheeks are on, then we're ready to put his mouth on. And the mouth goes between rows 2 and 3, about 3 stitches wide. But of course, you can get creative with this and put it in like a V shape so it looks like a smile, or maybe make him like a crooked little mouth, whatever you want. You can make him however you want to, but we do it the same way with just bringing the yarn down on one side and then pulling it through the other side 3 stitches away, and then just tie it on, and then he'll have a cute little mouth. And now we're ready to get started with row 5. So we're going to single crochet 8. There's 1, 2, here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now here you're going to want to get to the side of your frog, so you may need a couple more stitches. So I'm going to add 1 more single crochet, 2 more single crochets, and now I'm all the way on the side because this is where his arm is going to be. So depending on how tight or loose you crochet, or the type of yarn and your hook size, you may need to add more or less stitches, but just make sure you're on the side. Now we're going to chain 14. Here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now in the 4th chain from the hook, we're going to single crochet. There's 1 little single crochet. Okay, now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And in that same place where you put your single crochet, you're going to do another single crochet. Now you're going to repeat that. Chain 1, 2, 3, and then put another single crochet right there. Now you're going to find your very next chain on your big chain, and you're going to single crochet into it 10 times. So there was 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, and 5, here's 6, and 7, here's 8 single crochets, 9 single crochets, and a 10. Here's our 10th single crochet. Now we should be close to the body of the frog again, so we're going to find the next stitch on the body and single crochet into that. And it's going to be 8 single crochets, so there's 1, and here's 2, here's 3, and 4, 5, here's 6, and 7, and 8. Now we are on the other side of our frog, so we're going to create another arm. So we're going to chain 14 once again. 1, here's 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now single crochet in the 4th chain from your hook, and then chain 1, 2, and 3. And now single crochet in that same place where your other single crochet is. And then repeat that. Chain 1, 2, 3, and single crochet in that same place. Now we're going to do 10 single crochets back up the arm of our frog. Here's 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 3 single crochets. Here's 4 and 5. Here's 6 single crochets and 7 and 8 and 9 single crochets and 10. And now we're going to find the next single crochet on the body of the frog and single crochet into it. There's 1. We're going to do 8 single crochets. Here's 2, here's 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. Here's 7, and 8. And that is the end of round 5. So now you can see we're back at an arm. We're going to be pushing this arm out of the way to work into the next single crochet on the body of the frog. Here, I'm having some yarn issues. Sorry, my yarn ball is new and really tight. Okay, I'll loosen it up. Now, okay, so if you push this little arm out of the way, you can see the next single crochet on the body of the frog. And that's where I'm going to be putting my hook. And that is where that first single crochet of round 6 is going to go. And I like to grab my stitch marker here and like mark that first single crochet, because I'm going to be doing 16 single crochets in this round. And there, I'm just placing my stitch marker on the first one. So I've done 3, but let's mark that first one and then continue on with 16. So there's 4 and 5. Here's 6 and 7 and 8. And now I should be at the next arm, and I am. So we're going to skip right over it and then find the next one on the body. So this one makes 9. And 10. Here's 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, and then 16 should be my last one, and I should be right next to that marked stitch, and I am. Perfect. So that is round 6. We are all done. Now for round 7, we're going to make our frog a little bit chunkier. So we're going to do 7 single crochets. So here's 1 single crochet. And here's 2 single crochets. Here's 3 single crochets. Here's 4 single crochets, 5 single crochets, and 6 single crochets, and 7 single crochets. Now here's where he's going to get chunky. We're going to increase by putting 2 single crochets in this one, in this little stitch right here. So here's 1 and a 2, little increase. Okay, now we're going to do 7 more single crochets along the body of our frog. 1, 2, 3, here's 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. And now we're going to increase one more time. So in this one, we do a 1 and a 2. So we've just increased that round by 2 to make our frog a little bit chunkier. So now for rounds 8, 9, 10, and 11, you're just going to single crochet around. So each round will be 18 single crochets, and you can use the stitch marker if you want to. For me, that's easier, then I don't have to keep count. I can kind of zone out. I just have to pay attention to how many rows I've done. So I'm currently working on row 8. So like I said, we're doing 8, 9, 10, and 11 exactly like that, just single crochet around. So I'm going to do that, and I will meet you at the end of round 11. Okay, so I am at the end of round 11, and I had to add just a couple more single crochets to get to the very, very side of my frog. So this is where we're going to be making his first leg. So you may have to add a couple of single crochets to get to the side. That's fine. You just want to make sure that the leg of your frog is going to be on the side. So add as many single crochets as you need to get there. And now we're going to make the leg exactly like the arms. We're going to chain 14. So here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now find your 4th chain from your hook and make a little single crochet, and chain 3, and then single crochet in that same exact spot, and then chain 3 once again, 1, 2, 3, and then single crochet in that same spot. Now you're just going to do 10 single crochets up the leg of your frog. Here's 1 and 2. Here's 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Here's 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. And now we're going to start stitching our frog closed. So we are going to crochet him closed. So you're going to find the very next single crochet on your frog body, and then folding him in half, you're going to find the single crochet that's kind of directly across from that. So let me show you that again. So you're finding the very next single crochet, and then kind of folding your frog closed and finding the single crochet that's directly across from that. And you're just going to yarn over and pull through for a little slip stitch. And then you'll do that again on the very next single crochet and the next one directly across from that. So that was 2, and here's 3. Now we can pull our hook out a little bit because we want to stuff him before we close him too much. So grab some of your stuffing. I grab about a handful, starting with a half of that handful and mashing that in there, and then I'll grab a little bit more. You can make your frog as soft or as firm as you like, just depending on how much stuffing you put in there. I like mine to be pretty squishy and soft, so I don't use a lot of stuffing. I don't want him to be too firm. I want him to be really mushy and snuggly. So we have done 3 single crochets so far, and I'm gonna put my hook back in here so we can do a couple more slip stitches up the body of our frog. There will be 7 altogether, so here's our 4th little slip stitch on our little froggy right here. And here's 5 and 6 and a 7 right here. And then we are ready to make the next leg of our frog, and we're going to do it the exact same way. So once again, we're going to chain 14. There's 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Here's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And now single crochet in the 4th chain from your hook. And then chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And single crochet in that next, or in the very same chain. And then chain 3 and single crochet in that very same chain. And then we'll do our 10 single crochets up the leg of our frog. There's 1. Here is 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7. Here's 8, and 9, and here is 10. And then we're going to want to find the next stitches on our little frog body. Should be about the last ones. And just do one more little slip stitch to close him up. And he's all done. All right, now we just want to cut our yarn, and then we're going to weave it in a little bit. So again, I don't even use a yarn needle. I just use my hook to pull the end of that yarn through his little froggy body. So I'll pull it through the front, through his belly first. Just grab the end of that yarn and tug it through. You might pull a little bit of stuffing out, just kind of mash that back in there. But just pull your yarn out, and then I like to pull it through a couple of times so he's really secure. If you want to, you could always grab a yarn needle and run it through the end of your stitches, but this blanket yarn is so nice that you can just kind of pull it on through a couple times and then he'll be good to go. So once you are happy with the number of times you've pulled that through, you can cut the end of your yarn and then just admire your super cute and adorable work. I love these froggies so much. Their long, leggy legs are so fun because you can tie them to anything, and because their little fingers are hollow, you can also pull like one hand through the other and just hook them onto anything. It's really cute. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, y'all.